sizohlangana no-Mr Mike oyi-PR Councillor. Okuningi sizokuzwa ngayo ngoba sithunywe abantu abase-Greater Gabon concerning development, ama-reblocking, you can name them, ne-electrifying, kanye bakhala ngokuthi phela sibhizi si-connecta izinyoka thina la eGabon. Siyacabanga ukuthi yithi esenza abantu ukuthi basafari nge-electricity, so sifuna ukuthi i-PR Councillor ne-Councillor ingenele ngapha manje. Ngize la mina ngizobuza yena ukuthi PR Councillor ingabe khona into ongasenzela yona na ungayenzela umphakathi waseGabon na ayibiza nge-Greater Gabon. Kukhulu ukuthi mina ngizanga la uzoveza abantu sephethe ngizela ngizoveza iphethe abantwini ukuthi abantu bafunde xa mina ngisikwenza kodwa ngisosho nginga la kotheni wangikhotha mothanda kuba nginoshukela asambeni somono Mr Mike ngiyabonga ingandele. Sanibonani emakhaya nonke, nikhumbule ukuthi nisabukele na uthuleleni TV, nikhumbule ukuthi lana mina ngisikhondla ngize lana ngono uMr Mike lana, but okuningi engizokwenza ngizoyenza ukuthi ngizonikela nethuba ukuthi azazise uyi-PR Councillor yase 168 ungathi nase 69, but furthermore yena uyozokhona ukuthi as-introduce asitshele ukuthi senze kwenzakalani. Nikhumbule ukuthi lana sithunyiwe thina sithunywe umphakathi waseGabon, Daveyton, informal settlement. Kunemibuzo ekumele sizoyibuza. Mr Mike, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
I'm good, thanks, and over to you. Can introduce yourself so that the community will know who are we speaking to.
My name is Mike Da Silva. I'm a PR Councillor in the city of Ekurhuleni. I've been assigned by the DA to wards 68 and 69 in Daveyton. I have sit on a number of different committees in council. I sit on the Sports, Heritage, Recreation and Arts and Culture Committee, SHRAC, as well as the Gender, Children, Youth and People with Disabilities Committee, which is called GCYPD.
Yes, and I've been sent here by the community members of Greater Gabon. I hope you know about Greater Gabon.
Yes, of course.
Okay, sure. Especially in Greater Gabon, actually. The question that they want to know is that how long have you been in the council and what have you achieved in progress of our community here in Ward 68?
Okay, so I do know the Greater Gabon area, and also a number of the different sections within it. I've been a councillor since November 2021, which was at the last local government elections. And I chose to come to Daveyton as one of the ward's choices. What have I done in that time? I mean, there's a lot of things that I've assisted with in terms of service delivery and etc. But I think what the key highlights, one of the key highlights for me has been assisting. There's an organization called Tanda Inja.
Okay.
And they used to they used to assist people, get their dogs looked after and stuff. Their bike up by the field there. That was not a suitable condition for them. So with my engagement, I helped them to get assisted in a facility at Mbiko Tendi Hall. So now they're there every second Tuesday at Mbiko Tendi Hall. So they've got running water and electricity, which is helping them give better care to people's animals. That's one example.
Yeah.
Another example, just this year, just before the election actually, we assisted a creche with a water tanker so that creche can also have its own water for the kids so that they don't have to go without water.
Okay.
That's just two examples.
Okay. And in what do you have any relationship with or friendship with our ward committee?
So
Ward 68.
The ward committee. So the role of a PR councillor is not to engage with the ward committee, right? The ward councillor is the chairperson of the ward committee. I respect the ward councillor's chairpersonship of that committee. My job as a PR councillor is to, in a sense, represent different types of interests within the community. So the ward committee has its roles and functions. I, as a PR councillor, don't have anything to do with them really.
Yeah, well, you know why I ask you this question? Because community want to know, and then they don't have info like you have, you see. So I say, no, you know what? No, I will ask him once we meet.
No problem.
Okay, and then let us talk about Greater Gabon informal settlement. Do you have any knowledge about where are we going from here? Because there's no, there was this development in Greater Gabon.
In the area.
Yes, and then we have this sections, it's Plomanati, Mbalende, it's Zwagala and what Siatal and Kalabusha. I hope you know about these locations.
Yeah. I mean, in broad strokes, even sometimes within Gabon, there's a bit of contestation of which section is where exactly. But in broad strokes, let's talk about the bigger picture.
Sure.
So the greater Gabon kind of area started about 20 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And really what has happened over time is that it's expanded and expanded and expanded. And I know that, the city at one point built houses for some people staying there,
sure.
and then those people left, and then new people came in.
Exactly.
Look, in terms of, there's certain things that need to be done in the area. So, for example, there are sections which are not on private land, which can have applications done to be electrified, reblocked, etc. But unfortunately, there's also parts of the area which are not on government land, and because they're on private land, it means that it's not so easy to just for the government to start rolling out poles and water provision of services, etc., like that kind of thing. So it really depends on where people are, and yeah.
Okay. Back to the to your answer. You said that actually in Greater Gabon as large, there were spaces where they built houses for people. And was this is chiefly Tule. So now there was space that remaining in Gabon, and so people came and then occupied that space. Can you elaborate something about those spaces? If there were no spaces, do you think maybe we were going to get maybe houses or electricity in Gabon without, if there were no, if people never occupied those spaces? What are even again, and what were those spaces for?
Okay, I think the better answer to the question is to actually look at the problem of housing on a national scale. Right? So, for example, at the last time I checked, Ekurhuleni, sorry, not Ekurhuleni, the whole Gauteng, there's a housing backlog of around 1.2 million houses. And that's where the problem starts. Because informal settlements don't just emerge out of nowhere. They emerge because people often have nowhere to go, because there's a rising unemployment rate, which is coupled with a rising population. And when all of those things come together, they create worsening conditions for everybody. So the solution to the problem is, firstly, we need to get the economy growing, the economy of the country growing, so that we can ease the burden on the state in terms of needing to provide houses. Because the fact of the matter is that the Gauteng government on its own cannot build 1.2 million houses. The current rate, as the last time I checked, was I think it was at 10,000 houses a year. So if you take the maths and you do the maths, it's around about 127 years just to complete the backlog. So that's where the problem actually starts. If we grow the economy, people will have access to jobs, people will have money to rent, and that will incentivize private companies to develop. Maybe not even just rent, maybe people have money to buy houses and things like that. So you need to have development happening in order to get rid of the crisis that's at hand.
Yeah, because in Greater Gabon, actually, we have a lot of crises. The criminal rate is too high. Each and every day, there's a sound of a gun. Our sisters got raped. Our mothers got robbed. And hence, we were talking about the street lights issue. You see, because it's very dark in that place. And according to me, I think that even this thing of load shedding, it has been caused by these places that they don't have electricity, because they are using electricity illegally. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm wrong there. What is your suggestion?
You are certainly correct in terms of, for example, load reduction. The reason that Eskom gave us as councillors for load reduction is that the areas where there's load reduction, there's number one, a low repayment rate, and number two, the infrastructure is under a lot of pressure due to illegal connections. So the reason that they bring in load reduction is to reduce the amount of electricity being used by the grid so that it doesn't overload. Because if the infrastructure overloads, they can't afford to put new transformers in all the time and all the things like that. So yes, the crime, there's like a kind of holy or unholy trinity that's going on. You have load shedding, which is feeding illegal connections, because it's giving an opportunity for them to be created.
Sure.
And that is strangling the economy, and that is creating an impetus and an opportunity for people to be more desperate to do illegal connections and things like that. So you have to arrest the whole problem as a whole. But it takes step by step by step. That we've, as a country, moved past load shedding to a point, let's all touch wood and hope that it stays that way. That's a good thing. But it's not the total solution to the problem. So, for example, at the moment now, Eskom wants to increase the price of electricity by 40%. That's something that we, as the DA, are driving to say we don't want that to happen. There are other ways to fund Eskom, and the debate is happening in Parliament, I think, as we speak. So I'm sure that they will give more info there. But the national issues and the bigger issues that are affecting Gabon are really reflected on a national scale, not just in Gabon itself.
Okay. Back to Greater Gabon again.
Yeah.
Do you think? Do you see any changes or progressive in Greater Gabon, like building houses, relocation, reblocking, and temporary electricity? Is it possible for Greater Gabon to have temporary electricity?
So, like I said earlier, some areas yes, some areas no. The areas where they are definitely on government land, there is the possibility. However, that requires collaboration from human settlements in Ekurhuleni and Eskom. As well, and that needs to be really driven, unfortunately, by the ward councillor. So, for me as a PR councillor, I can shout and jump up and down and say, hey guys, please do it. But there is stuff that needs to be done from them as well.
People have developed a trust in DA. What is it that you can tell them about DA?
About the DA?
Yes.
I mean, I can tell you a lot about the DA.
Yeah, you can tell me a lot. I can give you 5 minutes.
Give me a question about, are you asking me to tell them why we should trust the DA or anything like that? Yes. Okay, I think the key reason for people to trust the DA is because the DA gets things done. That is the number one reason. We are a party that sticks to our values. We believe in freedom, we believe in fairness, we believe in opportunity, we believe in diversity. And when you put all of those values together, what you get is a political party that is genuinely interested in making South Africa a better place. And I think that is the key idea of why, as a party, we have taken the step to go into the GNU. It is about saying, what can we do to serve South Africans and to make South Africa the beautiful, amazing country that it can be. I think that'll sum it up. But we can talk about the DA for hours. I just need a bit more questions if you if you're curious about it.
But I think I will have time with you, so that we can elaborate much more about DA.
Sure.
People want to know more about DA. Others, they don't trust DA. You know the reasons. Because of the old stories. History.
The stories. Yes.
So you guys need to bring people together, and then you need to show them that, say, we can do this as DA, but I'll give you time. Bengikhuluma naye uMr Mike PR Councillor yase Ward 68 la Daveyton ne 69 ngingawazi wonke ukuthi ama-watt asebenzela kiyo angaki. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi abantu base-Greater Gabon bazwile ukuthi kahle kahle way-forward ikhona eGabon, ngisho i-Greater Gabon, imikhukhu yase-Gabon yonke. Nikhumbule ukuthi mina ukuza lana bengingezanga la ukuzoveza iphepha ebantwini, bengize la ngizoveza iphepha ebantwini ukuthi abantu bafunde. Cha, mina ngisikhondla ngisoshovi ingane ngangikhotheni ngangikhothi amathanda ngoba nginoshukela. Ngiyaphuma nginoMr Mike, ngiyabonga nibe nosuku kuhle. Ningakhohlwa ukuthi ni-subscribe uThuleleni TV, ni-subscribe nalaphana ku-Facebook page yethu ithi uthuleleni_TV. Ama-number phone wethu, if you want to contact us, it's 079-862-1475. Email address yethu it's uthulelenimedia7@gmail.com. Ngiyayiphinda, it's uthulelenimedia7@gmail.com. Ngiyabonga nibe nobusuku kuhle. Ungakhohlwa lapha phansi laphana kune-subscribe button, ku-notification button, uyapressa laphana ni-support ukuthi sikhona ukukhula. Ngiyabonga, nisaleni kahle.